that a chicken?
Yes. I have one person with me today, so it's a big episode. His name is... this is the Elusive Isolation podcast, by the way. I should introduce myself. I'm really bad at this stuff. That's why I like to call it gibberish, because I can get away with anything, because it's my own language.
Gibberish FM.
My own lack of communication skills personified into this broadcast. Elusive Isolation is a little arts hub thing on the internet at perthcreatives.blogspot.com. My guest today is Campbell White. He's a member. I presume you don't mind your last name out on the internet?
No.
Campbell White, he's a Perth artist. So Campbell, what's going on?
There's lots going on. Doing stuff for Free Range Gallery, which has recently relocated to Wellington Street in town, sort of near in between Tucker's and the Army Surplus Store. So it's an artist-run initiative that's been going for about 8 years, I think. We were in Subi before then, and we got pushed out due to huge rent increases, which is sort of the way all art spaces go. So we've managed to get this new space up and running with the help of the City of Perth. And we're just finishing, I think, this week, booking the last of the spaces for 2010. So we've got a full year's lineup booked. And doing that. Trying to spend the last couple of weeks trying to organise a studio space for myself and my partner Elizabeth.
And what does that mean?
So
what does that involve?
What does that involve? That involves contacting all the various arts organisations within Perth, such as ArtSource, and saying, do you have any studio spaces available? And the thing is, studio spaces are very scarce in Perth, so you get a lot of people just kind of holding on to spaces. You know, I think ArtSource has a 3-year maximum lease that you can take out. So I think they've got a studio space. I think they've got one in town, and it has I could be totally wrong. It has about 5 spaces, 5 artists, and then if they each take out a 3-year lease, you've got a turnaround of sort of, maybe 1 studio a year. So it's pretty harsh.
So did you actually find a dedicated space, or did you have to look outside the square?
No, it was totally outside of the square. There was someone that was setting one up on Beaufort Street, but that was outside of our price range. I mean, the thing with studios is, if someone's trying to make money out of running an artist studio, they're trying to make money out of the least profitable portion of an arts practice.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it's all pretty bare bones of your butt sort of thing, but especially the studio practice time, because you're making, there's no chance of recouping any cash at that point. And so if you're trying to make a profit, anyway, that's sort of, it was outside of our budget. But we started looking for just spaces to rent, like rooms to rent in our suburb, because we wanted somewhere that was close by. And it turns out there was a room, a semi-detached room to someone's house that was just like 5 houses away from us.
Okay.
And that was just the perfect price point.
So it's just other artists there, or just people living there?
It's a woman's house.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and she's renting one room. She's got a space out the back that she's renting to an engineer who's constructing some, or designing some, or engineering a concrete mixing machine or something. I don't know.
So it must be kind of cool to be able to go, I'm going to work, and it's sort of like, going and doing stuff.
Well, that's the big thing. It's so many creative practitioners don't have studios, or, and that demarcation of private or social life and workspace is just really impossible, because you can't do either properly. You can't relax because you're looking around the house and there's your
chores.
work there, there's a job there, and you can't commit to your work because you look around the house, and there's chores to do, there's dishes, there's laundry, there's just maintenance stuff, or just and you can't commit to either, and so both suffer. So it's we've sort of reached a point where we've got enough time that we can actually dedicate to our arts practice again.
I think that's ultimately what I have to do, because, it's a bit like, hey, so, would you like to come on Gibberish FM? And they're like, oh, where is it? I'm like, in my shed. And they're like, okay, so you want me to go down to the back of your shed with someone I don't even know? And I'm like, yeah. And like, you're probably a serial killer. And I'm like, well, possibly.
Well, you know, it's a bit of a creepy shed.
Yeah.
I like the space foil that's in here.
Yeah.
You know, it's good. But you don't have to tell people it's
Once
at your
people
house.
come the first time, they're like, oh, can I come back? When can I come back? But
Not this week, though.
no. That's true. But to be fair, Elusive Isolation artists, they're like, what time is it? I don't know. They probably don't even remember it's actually on. I know Claire RSVP'd back. She said she couldn't come this week. It's her brother's 21st.
That's a pretty good excuse.
That is a good excuse.
But
I don't know about the other people.
I don't know. You don't have to tell people it's at your house. You could say it's at your studio. This is true. Whatever your address is.
What I need is intercom so people come to the front door and I can like be in here setting up.
Well, that's the thing because I knocked on your front door, but because
there's no minutes.
Yeah, I was just saying I'll just go to the shed. Cause,
most people think I usually give my number and they can prank me so they can call me.
Yeah, right.
Or people who have come here the second time know to walk around the side if there's no answer.
Yeah, that's fair enough. Yeah, a little intercom, just little doorbell that's.
I wonder how much they cost. So anyway, we sort of just got started there, but the last episode we started talking about past, present, future. So who are you, Campbell, and what have you done to get to this point?
Okay.
Like why are you renting an art space in the first place?
Oh, what? You want me to go back through my arts career or do you want me to?
Yeah, like what do you do? What kind of arts do you practice?
Okay.
Why do you choose to do that as a career instead of getting an office job?
Oh, okay. So I was probably always that kid that was in every class that was, good at drawing and, and that you sort of get labelled, there's this kid that's good at sport or the kid that's really smart and the kid who's good at drawing, and that was sort of me. And then, because there's the kid that's good at sport and nobody else bothers, and because there's the kid that's really smart, nobody else bothers doing their assignments. And yeah, I think that's kind of how a lot of artists be artists, is because that's the thing that they were good at and they were defined as, and because they get that encouragement in that sector, It's like you look at kids, every single kid draws, every single kid paints, but it's, when do you stop? When did they stop? Like people always go, when did you start drawing? It's like, well, when did you stop? That's more.
Did you ever go through an Alien versus Predator phase?
Oh, yes.
Yes.
When I was big time.
10 years old, every kid in the class who could draw was either drawing an alien or a predator.
Yeah, I was doing both.
And I think that's when the video game first came out.
Exploiting one another. Yeah, I never saw the Predator films.
Yeah.
Yeah, as a kid. My friend...
You're more of an alien person.
Yeah, I was more of an alien person. I liked the Predators. My friends and I had Alien vs. Predator toys. I don't think I had any Predator ones. I had Alien ones. But I did like the Predators. I thought they were cool. And they had that mystique about them because I wasn't allowed to watch the movies, Yeah. So, I don't know why I was allowed to watch Alien, but not Predator. But yeah, big Alien vs. Predator fan. And the video game, the Capcom one, the beat 'em up one was cool. You could be the robot guy with a huge arm, or you could be one of two Predators, I think. Anyway, so a lot of drawing of that. I was big on video games, so we used to do a lot of we'd design video game stages and stuff and levels and on paper and play them against one another. It's sort of like a puzzle game. So I did that, and then I wanted to be a comic artist. So for the longest time, that was sort of, it was really kind of technical drawing skills, so perspective and compositions, and that sort of thing is still kind of the foundation of my arts practice. Is kind of illustration, and I'm not so much for the abstract. So anyway, there was that. Then I went to art school outside of high school. I did terribly at academically at art in high school. I was really rubbish at it. And then so I did a bit of art school outside of high school, and then dropped out at the end of second year. Then went back after taking a year's break, and so in there I sort of got into painting, and because I was doing painting because it was because you could do drawing in painting, but I got into the painting, and so now I do a kind of mixed media works on surfaces, sometimes wood, oftentimes canvas or linen. Bits of drawing, I use pens and markers and paints and acrylics and oils and glitter, and it's all sorts of stuff. So, and recently
whatever you need to finish the job, kind of thing.
Yeah, whatever best sorts. And most recently, one of the more recent things was a video component with you, which is probably where I'm kind of interested in heading within my next exhibition, sort of doing playing with video and light and painting, because I don't think there's that much of that going on, and it's pretty exciting. So that's sort of... So I need a studio space so I can go and make this work. And one of the biggest distractions at home is our 14-month-old son. So he's a pretty big distraction. So that's one of the reasons why I need to get out of the house.
How do you manage that situation? Like, will you both be in the studio at the same time?
No, I will take
with
turns.
A babysitter, or you take turns?
No, I will take turns. Yeah, the studio's not really big enough to have more than one person working there at a time. Yeah. And yeah, we'll just take turns. So, maybe one whole day, Tuesdays Liz will go and I'll look after Nazario, and vice versa. And evenings, one of us can stay at home. And so, yeah. So we'll just take turns.
I think Campbell's opened up the Free Range website on our laptop here, freerange.org.au. I think you can look back in the archives and see a photo from our exhibition, which doesn't really do it justice because it was, a whole mixed media thing, but
yeah, it was pretty cool. And as usual, complete lack of documentation on my part.
Well, we could talk about it here unless you have some kind of
yeah. So the collab that James and I did was called Burning Bridges, and so that was sort of a farewell or a sort of a wake or a funeral piece for the old Free Range site. So it was a painting and a video, and they were both displayed one next to the other, equal size. It must have been about 30 centimeters by 30 centimeters, 2 squares in a darkened exhibition space. And that was all that was in there, basically. And the painting depicted the old gallery space, which is now a realtor's, being burnt, it had been set on fire, and you had a number of figures and a unicorn standing around, which is sort of the beginning of a series of paintings that I'm doing about a sort of violent revolution in Perth, it's sort of a fantasy political commentary sort of thing that I'm doing. And then on the projection next to it was a video that we filmed at night from across the street. So it's a very similar view of as the painting is, and just filmed. And, there's very little movement in there. Cars will go past, but there's not much happening. And so there's just sort of a dynamic tension between what's happening in the painting and what, that promise of what's happening in the painting and this film footage, which is, ongoing, and sort of I think there's an interesting dynamic tension between the two. And then James also put together this really vast and expansive soundscape, with all sorts of stuff. I don't know, where did you put? Do you want to talk about the soundscape that you set up?
Yeah, just keep talking.
Okay, so so there was really quite intense, sound installation as well, which is kind of surrounding the space. I mean, I don't think I've heard in an art space a sound installation quite like that. Like that dynamic and that encompassing, because you come from more of a film and a cinema background.
Yeah, it was a bit weird having in a gallery which just has one painting and a picture. It was the sound, the sound doesn't really absorb anything, so it was really echoey. So it filmed a sound a lot more like epic, because it was like in a chamber of just reflecting off all the walls. So people walked in and thought, "Oh my god!" I just walked into this crazy zone. It was intimidating for some people, but I don't know. The thing that got me interested to do this was your story about the Perth thing, and so I guess went with that story to sort of form a storyline or timeline with the sound piece. So it was about 50 minutes long, and it looped, and it just we never really talked much about it, but I just, made up a sort of basic story with what, audio had at hand and to use. And
so it's sort of like a big sound collage almost, wasn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, just a big collage, made up 50 minutes. And I spent another day sort of trying to put it into surround sound, which is an experiment. I've never really used surround sound before. I just bought some new surround sound software. And so I just spent the next day just mixing all the just mucking around, going, basically just using the little tool to go woo, see if it goes around me and stuff like that. And then some bits I had specific ideas, but at the time I'm just like trying to fill in 50 minutes of mixing in a day. You can't exactly spend too much time doing it because there's all rendering and things to consider.
Yeah.
And exporting so we can play it on a regular home sound system. Yeah. It was pretty fun to do because it was such a short term, I think I had 2 days to work on it and boom, we were exhibiting like.
Yeah, so the Burning Bridges was also, the exhibition was also only on for one night. So that was part of in September of 2009, Free Range. The gallery was set up and ready to go, but we weren't officially opening until October, when we had Pip and Pop doing their opening. So we had the gallery sitting there for a month, and we figured, rather than just have it sitting there and nothing happening, we'd just invite a whole bunch of artists to do short exhibitions, like, maybe a couple of days or one night performances or installations or something. So I kind of put my hand up and said I'd like to do a night. And yeah, the Burning Bridges project came about. Because I've been wanting to sort of experiment with painting and video media at the same time and sort of compare the two. And so this initial installation as well, I mean, it's something that I was interested in, video media, but I didn't want to dive straight into it. I wanted to take it kind of slow and see.
If anyone's looking at the image on the website, like I just took that on my iPhone, but you can really see how just the use of just illuminating the painting just makes it really pop. And because he can use a lot of like bits of glitter and different luminescent paints to I mean, not intentionally, I don't think it went out, let's make it glow in the dark, but just that little bit of light on it really makes it pop against the black background.
Yeah, I think it was just incredible to see as well how different the work looks when it's being lit so well.
Yeah, it feels like it is like alive. Like you can just sit there and stare at it and go, I could be on the street, looking at this.
Yeah, it becomes like a little jewel or something. It's really special. Whereas, if it's in a gallery and you've just got really even lighting over the whole space. I mean, with this lighting, the lighting situation that we had, it was really sharp. Like the way it was lit, it was bang on. It was just the canvas. There was a tiny bit of spillover or something, but it was just, it was really crisp and sharp. It wasn't like we put a spotlight on it and it was, it's getting the wall as well. It was bang on. As though it was almost like a, project TV or something. So, that was cool. And it's, that's sort of really informed where I want to go with my next exhibition, that, use of projectors and things and painting and, framing paintings that way, lighting them. Yeah. It's cool. But that's, the soundscape, I think, I don't think anyone else had heard anything like that. Because it was like walking into a theater, rather than a art gallery. And that was cool. I really liked that.
It's like, is this some kind of new age music they're playing? It's like, and then suddenly there's like some children like crying or something.
Yeah, well, there's there was some intense stuff. Lots of gunshots and fiery sounds and
I think you have to. If I was going to do that again, you have to plan for it and sit and go, well, where would the audience need to sit to make sure they get the proper experience? Because I think if you just walk in and you're looking at paintings, you're not really kind of seeing like how things are introduced and that, which I guess isn't that important. But when I was testing out the morning after I mixed it all, I sat down and listened to it the first time, and it was like 5 a.m. in the morning. I was sitting in my home theater, or maybe it was late. I think it was 8 a.m. I had to stay up until, because I didn't want to wake up because I wanted to play it really loud, and just sitting there and I just closed my eyes, and you just feel like, with the surround sound, I can feel myself where I painted the sound around me. You can see it exactly in your head with your eyes closed. You can almost imagine, just using the surround panel, I'm sort of telling a story. It's just really simply, and it's really surreal. But then I think that gets lost because in the echoey thing, and we're not positioning the audience exactly. You're not seeing that. You're just sort of hearing the roar, and I don't know.
Yeah, I think it's difficult as well with, I find when I go to galleries or institutions and there's video work or there's sound work or something, and you can walk into something halfway through,
Mm,
and I
yeah,
find that really odd, and I find that a really kind of a shortcoming of video, whereby you don't get that with painting. You walk up to a painting, it is a painting. It's going to be like that.
I mean,
you go to the
I've
Louvre
been to
and
a few
things
things
are
at
still
Pika
there.
where they have a button you can go and click, but if someone's already clicked it and you walk in, then
Yeah, right. I just find that a strange dynamic, and with the sound thing as well. I think also because people really weren't expecting it, because of how different it was as well. It really had.
I knew I had to loop it on the day, so I had to design it so it sort of looped together sort of seamlessly. So it's kind of like, that's kind of the story of life, isn't it? We just live in cycles,
Yeah.
We go to war, settle in peace, and go back to war, and it just is ending.
Yeah, and the oppressed become the oppressors, and it goes around and around and around. Yeah, it's definitely like that.
Whether anyone actually noticed that. But I guess that's always art for you.
Yeah.
How other people perceive it, because you have it in your head as a complete picture.
Well, that's the great challenge of trying to communicate something.
So I guess that is the past. What is the present? What do you?
You're
just concentrating on getting this spaced it up, or you already got projects on the go?
December, sort of taking it easy. Because we just finished curating, Liz and I.
Oh yes, talk about
the Milktooth show.
Yeah, the Milktooth show.
Yeah, so if you go to the Free Range website, there's in the exhibitions. There's also an exhibition listed called Milktooth in the December 2009, and that's an exhibition that's been going on since 2005. Well, sorry, it happens annually since 2005, and it's sort of an ECU tradition whereby the second year painting students would have an exhibition of A4 sized works priced at $100, and all the money raised from that would go to the third year graduating students for their exhibition. So that then the third years wouldn't have to graduate. And of course, if you're in a second year, once you hit third year, the second years do it for you, and it keeps going. Anyway, we did it in 2005. We weren't the first class, but we did it in 2005. And then 2006 came along, and a lot of us put things in anyway. Sometimes third years have put things in anyway to raise a bit of money. So we put things in anyway. And then 2007 came and we'd all graduated. But, we had a really strong graduating class. We were all really good friends and, worked really strongly together and spent a lot of time together. So we thought, well, let's do it again. So we did it again. And the money that we raised from that one, went into a kitty. So none of the artists got recouped the money. What happened is it went into the kitty, and that would then be money that we have for next year for exhibiting again. So rental of space, liquor, promotion, all that sort of stuff. So 2007 we did it, 2008 we did it, and now 2009 we're doing it again. Every year it sort of gets fewer.
Yeah.
I think this year there were 10 artists maybe.
Oh, okay,
And, kind of when we did it in second year, there would have been 40 or 50.
Oh, really?
So the A4 format is to keep costs down and also to have a coherent sort of show when you've got 40, 50 artists exhibiting whose practices are, really diverse. So that someone can walk into the space and not feel like it's just a big mishmash. It's, they're all the same size. That's all right. But, so this year we did it again. And, it's a really great experience. I'm looking forward to just keeping on doing it. I'm looking forward to, in 30 years. The thing is still going, and it might just be me doing it. The one person who's like, it's still a great idea. But
I think it's always good to go collaborations because you immediately get a much bigger audience to come look at your things because, everyone can invite their set along.
Well, that's the great thing about group shows, yeah.
And you get just more exposure. People going, this looks good. Who was it by? And they look at the name and go, oh.
Yeah, group shows are definitely good that way. Yeah. So that was sort of the Milktooth show. Had a couple more New Perth works in that.
So I'm blanking this. This is saving money just for anything, or is it going back to the third year students as well?
No. This is just to keep going because ECU still does the second year, like the A4 shows. And so what? Well, this year was different actually. This year, any artist sales, half of it would go back to the artists, and then half of it would go back to the kitty, so we can keep having money there to draw upon to rent spaces and stuff. And put on shows. So next year, I think next year we're talking about breaking with the A4 size format.
Yeah.
Just because now there's so few of us, we don't actually require necessarily.
You can use up more space.
Yeah, and sort of better reflect what's going on in everyone's arts practices at the moment.
As in, like, you're going to set a new size, or just be like, you can do whatever you
No,
want?
it'll probably be like, you've got 1.5 meters wall space.
Okay.
Do what you want in it, maybe. I don't know, that's something we've got to have another meeting and discuss that, because group shows can be really mishmash, like, I mean, the thing that really binds this show together is the A4 format. And the fact that we're a graduating class, and then if you take away the A4 format, all you've got is that we're a graduating class, and so I mean that's still interesting in itself. And over years, I think it's just going to be more interesting. Like I said, in 30 years, it'll be like it's pretty crazy.
So I think a couple of weeks ago you guys were at the Made on the Left.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Market. What is that all about?
Oh, so the Made on the Left market, that I don't actually know who started that. I know Ali J had a hand in it. I don't know who else though. But it's basically Perth craft stuff, I guess. But sort of not the craft that you'd find your nana selling at a fete. Sort of contemporary craft practice, I guess.
Yeah. It's made on the left side of Australia. I think that's the idea, isn't it? The name.
Yeah, I thought it was sort of made on the left, like not the right wing fascists. It's sort of
really?
The left wing,
the commies.
Yeah, sort of more communist, sort of radical thinkers.
I thought they're meant to be capitalist. Is the idea is that they're selling.
Well, it's a big selling thing as well, isn't it? So I don't know. Made on the left, like a bit different. But yeah, so there's that going on, and Liz and I, we have like a cute illustration kind of arts practice as well that we do, or more of a craft practice where we do corazon and ortolan, which is a little pink unicorn and a little yellow songbird, and they do go on adventures together, and we do little watercolors and kids onesies, and so we sort of do that stuff. It's not hugely profitable. It's not like we're making bank off it and we can focus on our arts practice. It's but it's really fun. It's sort of relaxing artwork for us. So it's good. And we're looking at having an exhibition of that stuff next year as well. So the Made on the Left, yeah, it's cool. There's a lot
Do you still sell things? Do you
have... At the moment, we're relaunching our store in January.
Okay, cool.
So we don't have anything online.
So where can people go in January?
In January, they can go to thehometimebell.com, and there's going to be some stuff. They can go to hunterswelcome.blogspot. And we've also got an Etsy store, but I'm not sure what it's going to be next year. We're still kind of deciding. But yeah, you can check the updates at those two websites when we're up and running.
Cool.
Yeah, so there's those. In terms of at the present, yeah, like I was saying, right now I'm not really doing much. We're just sort of organising the house.
Got Christmas.
Well, yeah, there's Christmas. There's all sorts of stuff. It's a good December of exciting relaxation, and if that makes sense. But come January, it's going to be... Liz has got an exhibition in May. Yep, in May in Sydney at a gallery called Friends of Leon. And so that's really exciting. So she's producing work for that. I'm going to be having a new Perth exhibition at the end of the year that I'll be working towards. The two of us will also be working on a Corazon Ortolan installation.
Team up.
Yeah, it's a total team up. So there'll be toys, there'll be just all kinds of awesome stuff at that. And that'll be towards the end of the year, about Christmas time. There's also the Home Time Bell, which I'm starting again next year, which sort of, I think it was a bit premature when it first launched.
I'm excited. You left it on a cliffhanger.
I did. I'm probably going to go back and redraw it. That's probably like...
No.
Yeah, it's something you got to get right. And, yeah, so this is a comic that I started, a year or so. Yeah, it was probably like 14 months ago. It was probably like about the time Nazario was born, our son was born, which is a ridiculously terrible project. It was I sort of had this work schedule where I was supposed to be producing a page a day or something of watercolor illustrations, and anyone who does illustration knows that's pretty maddening in itself, let alone when you just brought home a baby and trying to sort out all that stuff. So, I was just getting frustrated with the project. Liz was getting frustrated with my obsession with the project. Nazario was, getting upset because, I was just trying to work on this thing, and it was really stupid, in hindsight. Kind of admirable initially. Or, I do see that there are admirable traits, but also incredibly stupid.
Yeah.
And naive.
I guess I mean, like, a lot of, actors when they have kids go to TV because it's more...
Oh, really?
A religious schedule, so they don't have to worry about traveling the world for some film or...
Oh, I didn't know that.
Doing something unusual. They have something more consistent. They have one character to worry about and get into. So maybe that's what you're thinking, like, it's having one thing that I've got a focus goal for, I don't have to worry about doing all sorts of different things.
Yeah, I mean, I mean, you don't know what you're going to be capable of when you have a kid. So, I set the benchmark pretty ridiculously. And I think I had other projects on the go at the same time, and it was just all intense and pretty stupid. But next year, I've applied for funding to be able to do some studies as well, and get some more experience in sort of calligraphy and watercolor skills and storytelling and writing. Because it's a project that I really want to get right, get good.
Yeah. So
that'll probably be, there'll be stuff happening with that next year. That'll be cool.
So we've just been talking about stuff that you've been doing.
Yep.
Have you been consuming anything, like going to other people's exhibitions or music gigs or movies or anything like that?
Not much. There was a great thing on by Tanya Schultz.
Mm-hmm.
And where on earth was that? I can't remember at the moment. Space Elders? Elders, maybe? She had a window installation that was in there, and that was a collaboration with another artist. Yeah, look, I'm not going to be able to find it.
Oh, is this with the multicolored?
Yeah, so she does really cool stuff. She's got a pretty varied art practice, but it's lots of installation, and she does stuff with Nicole Andrzejewicz. Mm-hmm. I'm sure I'm saying her last name wrong. But Tanya Schultz did a window installation with another artist, a different one who I can't remember, and it was really cool. It was it looked like samples from some space expedition that had been laid out. I work at the museum, so I saw I read a lot of museum sort of display into it. And also David Turley, who's a pretty amazing Perth artist, had an installation there that was just really exquisite. His use of materials is just staggering and really enviable. So David Turley, and he also collaborates with Corin Garth, and there is D&K.
Mm-hmm.
They do work, and D&K had an exhibition in Free Range during the September period, which was When All Else Fails, I think it was called. And again, the materials were just incredible. I think the two guys, I only caught the tail end. It's one of those things where you've got to, they say it's going to be open from 7 till 10, and you get there at 8 and it's already finished. You know what I mean? Because it's a performative thing. They're not sure how long it's going to go for, but they had this big tin pail bucket with this beautiful old wooden ladder and a bench, and then one of them was at the top, and I think they were both naked, and one of them was poor. They just had this massive, massive container of honey. The whole space just reeked of honey.
Mm-hmm.
And as we rocked up to the gallery, the two of them were they were driving in their car. They were just leaving in their car, but they were completely covered in honey and naked and covered in like sarin, like Glad wrap, so that they wouldn't get honey in their car. And they were just like driving over. They're like, "Bye." We're like, "Holy fuck!" It's like the coolest art thing ever. And just the materials like the honey and the wood and the tin. It's just those guys are just masterful with their use of found objects. And this exhibition was, I can't remember where the space was. It's somewhere Wolf Lane. It was on Wolf Lane. It's like a bar as well. I've recently, I think, started up a gallery. So
yeah, I've heard about Wolf Lane.
Yeah, so that was going on. What else have I checked out? Oh, not much, unfortunately. There's, I've been to Pika and there's a big video thing on there. I wasn't that keen on it.
A few people have been talking about some car boot sale.
Yeah,
part of
Pika.
something. Did you go to that?
No, I didn't. No, I didn't go to that. Yeah, I did see that. I don't know. I've heard in past they were pretty good. I heard this one is pretty quiet, which I didn't help because I didn't turn up to.
Yeah.
I'm part of the problem. What else have we been checking out? Not much. I want to say that I watched.
What are your
recently,
sort of?
I think I did.
I don't know. Do you have any sort of when you're thinking about the Home Time Bell?
Yeah.
And creating it, is there any do you look around for anything sort of like it, or peers or people to look up to go, well, this is maybe how to do something like that, or?
Right. Yeah. You mean in terms of visual inspiration or in terms of like career?
Career, probably. I mean, you can talk about visual inspiration as well if you want, but I was,
yeah.
more like, how do I model this project, or do you have to completely come up with? Yeah,
I know what you mean.
So do you ultimately want it to be like a web comic, or is it just the medium that you have at hand?
No, right. Okay. So the Home Time Bell, just for people who don't know, it's a long format. So at the moment, it's a web comic, and
you've got like Act 1 online.
Yeah. So the first chapter, basically, or the first level or whatever, is online. And that's about maybe 30 pages or something. And it's, the end product, what I want it to be is a published thing.
Yeah.
It's a web comic initially because you can publish on the web for free.
Yeah.
And so while I'm creating the work, I want it to be created one way or another. And ideally, in my mind, the trajectory of it would be to maintain a good schedule, because that's the key thing with a webcomic, is maintaining a schedule. Work on it, maybe get it, halfway through it, develop a following, and then maybe about halfway through it start, which would be somewhere like 150 pages in of, and it's not like a gag strip. It's not like 3 panels. It's formatted like a landscape comic, like a French album or something. Halfway through it, sort of put together a promotional or a pitch package to various publishers and say, this is this, there's X amount more to do on it. This is sort of what I'd like to do. I'd like to keep it online for free. I'd like to publish it in a hard format. And I'd like to publish it in a hard format. Like in the past, the comics that I've done have been on really interesting materials like sugar papers and things, and various card stocks, and had metallic inks and things. I'd really like it to be something that's, as an object, tells the story with your fingers as well as your eyes. As you're holding it, you're absorbing the story and you're feeling the story. So the materials would change as you read it, depending on what's happening, and not in a gimmicky way, but in a really meaningful kind of way. And sort of, I guess the end product, sort of like something like, it'd be like if Calvin and Hobbes and Dinotopia and, The Secret Lives of Gnomes and Harry Potter and sort of all those traditional children's fantasy stories all had a baby, had a big orgy and had a baby.
Yeah.
This is kind of what I'd like it to be, where there's this thing that's just beautiful and, really cool as well, and kids love it. Do you remember in primary school, there'd be those cool books every year? There'd sort of be a cool book that would be booked out at the library for a semester, and you'd be like, far out. I just want to read, whatever the hell it is. Oftentimes it'd be those books where you got to hunt for things. You remember those were just massive when we were kids. Those sort of Osborne.
Went through a magic eye phase.
Magic eyes. When we were really young, it was sort of Where's Wally? But that sort of vibe where you got to find things, you got to look. That's not what I want it to be. But what I really want it to be is for Australian kids to have that book on reserve from their school library for the whole year.
Yeah.
And for the kids to be pissed off. That's what I want, as a dream. That would be my dream.
Does kids these days even use the library? They're just like, Mom, can I buy this? Or...
Oh, look, I don't know. I don't know, we used
just
to
the role
nag
of the library these days?
Yeah, for some it's diminishing. father. I mean, I go to the library now more than ever because of Nazario. Like, we get out picture books, and half of them are for me because.
So other day I went and saw Where the Wild Things Are. Have you seen that?
No, I'm seeing it next week.
Okay, I won't talk about it.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Man, just watching the trailer, there's one shot in the trailer where one of the wild things is crying.
Yeah.
It's just like half a second, and every time I've watched the trailer, I just start crying, and it's just half a second of footage, and I just think, which animator managed to get that much emotion into that image? Like, that is magic. I don't know. I haven't seen the work, so.
Yeah, I shouldn't talk about it. Go see it, decide for yourself.
Yeah, I'll check it out.
But have you ever thought of doing like short form things like that, like Where the Wild Things Are, just for?
Oh, like like picture book sort of stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm putting together a portfolio for publishers because I realize my sort of trajectory, my envisioned trajectory of the Home Time Bell is kind of pretty ambitious, probably sort of like producing a page a day when you've got a newborn baby, ambitious, and a bit out of the realms of how things normally function, I think.
Yeah.
So I would, at the beginning of next year, I'm going to be approaching publishers, Australian publishers, with to see if I can get some illustrative work, because that's also a stepping stone. You know what I mean? Like, you illustrate someone else's picture book and you do a couple of those, and then you might be able to write one your own, and then you can guide that sort of direction. I mean, I think Sean Tan's a beautiful, sort of noble example of those sort of, and a really clear example of those progressions. I mean, he works for Pixar, and he's just, so talented and incredible. And that's sort of the trajectory. And now he's doing animations and stuff of his own, and he can really define his own career at this point. So.
Have you heard about Wes Anderson doing Fantastic Mr. Fox?
Yeah, not into it.
Not into it?
Not into it. I watched the trailer when it first came out, and then I kind of forgot about it. And I mentioned it to Liz last night, or a couple of nights ago, and she's like, "Oh yeah, I haven't seen the trailer for that." So I showed it to her, and I watched it again. I was just like, "No, it's not right."
Really? Yeah, I don't know what, but I know quite a few people who hated the trailer, and it's just come out in the US, and they're like, "Oh my god, I eat my words about it."
Yeah, but that's like the US. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe.
It's all about them. Like,
yeah, I guess so.
I'm like Fantastic Mr. Fox and Badger, and like, I don't know. Is Fantastic
Did you ever like the book?
Oh yeah, I love the book. Yeah,
I was listening to
it's
the treatment the other day, and they had Wes Anderson on towards that, and he is actually really passionate about Roald Dahl. Like, he's to adapt it into a movie. He's actually included elements of other movies to, fill out certain things that they wanted to fill out, which could be a disaster, but it could be really cool as well. Like, I think some of the pranks that Mr. Fox uses are from Danny and the Champion of the World and stuff like that.
Really?
And but anyway, he was talking about how the classic Roald Dahl illustrator is Quentin Blake.
Yeah.
That's so iconic, but he has the original copy of Mr. Fox, which has a different illustrator before Roald Dahl went Quentin Blake crazy, and that's what inspired him.
And, are you serious?
And so it's based. His thing is more based on that original author's illustrations, and which for him captured the sense of like this fox warren and what that meant as a community and stuff like that, which he's obsessed with. If you've seen Life Aquatic, he has that whole scene where he's cut the ship in half and you can see how everyone connects to each other. And he wanted to do the same thing with this movie where you can see the warren. I mean, I haven't seen the movie yet, so.
Well, yeah, really, I mean, there's a couple of shots that are really similar, like, you see it and it's like, oh, it's Wes Anderson, And like, The Life Aquatic, that's one of my favorite films. I just think that's just an incredible movie, So it's nothing against, it's just, I don't know. I just think, I don't know.
But this is the impact you could have on people if you illustrate other people's books, is that you define the imagery of.
Yeah, like, right. But I think the original Fantastic Mr. Fox, it's such a British story, isn't it?
Yeah, well, it's funny. What they did is they got British actors to play the humans, and all the foxes are American.
Why?
All the animals are American.
That's just so...
Well, because it was adapted by Americans, and they actually originally cast British, and it sounded stupid because they had written as Americans. That's what he said.
See, but that's stupid. Why are you writing it as Americans?
Would foxes... Do animals have accents? Do you reckon they should have the same as where they live?
Yeah.
Okay.
Totally. Look, it's like a Roald Dahl story. Like, it's British. I don't know. I just think it's so wrong. It's so wrong to... America as a nation, they're so culturally insulated, or everything has to be about them. Do you know, like it's not good enough that a story can come from somewhere else and it have been of quality. It has to be filtered through their emerald spectacles, or I don't know. It's like it's like an American audience couldn't watch British performers and enjoy that.
Yeah.
That it's a British story.
It is weird. I've been watching.
What are they saying where they've got the bad guys as being British, and the Americans as being the heroes?
No, but I think that's the whole point of the Fox. Isn't that the whole point of Phantasm is Fox? Is that he's actually the bad guy, but he gets away with it. The humans are just like, oh, why is this Fox stealing all my stuff?
Yeah, look, maybe I don't know.
And it's just like he's the cheeky Fox. That's like the cheeky American trying to undermine the British, just like they do all the time. No, I don't know.
Yeah,
I haven't seen the movie.
I know. You just.
But I thought it was interesting. He was talking about it, and I've been watching the British Office. People have seen the British Office, America's Office, and
wait, which one have you been watching? The British or the American?
Well, both.
Okay,
but the American Office is still going, even though it probably should have stopped a long time ago. But the thing is, like, the hero of the British Office is Tim. Like, he's the only kind of sane one in the show.
All right, Gareth.
Gareth is cool, but he's not like one of the people I identify with. But that guy, he's sort of like a hero kind of thing by the end of it, and he gets the girl by showing her how to you don't have to be locked into this relationship. You can follow your dreams. She wants to be an artist, and he's like, he always pushes it while the husband's like, no, stay at home. Now, I'm just watching the current Office. Those equivalents of the two characters, of the Tim and Dawn characters in the Office, it's the opposite way around. Like, the Jim character has become a total arsehole.
Oh, really?
And, like, Pam who's the Dawn equivalent, has, like, given up her career dreams to be a housewife, sort of, for, like, she's having a baby now, and she's like, no, I don't want to go. She got a scholarship to go to New York to be an artist, and she was like, no, I can't handle this more. Jim's like, won't leave. He wants to stay there. He could have got a job in New York to support her, but no, he wants to stay there because he wants to follow his career.
And
he's just
sorry, I've stopped
arsehole.
Watching. I didn't watch much of the US Office, but he's still working at like the paper, company. And
what's
his career trajectory that he wants to follow?
But that's the whole point of the Tim thing. Was like, this is no career for me. I'm going to go back to university. But this one's like, nah. Jim's like, nah, I can stay. I can make a career for myself in this company. And now he's like the assistant manager, and and they're putting their life in that. So she's given up her dreams for being with him. Now they're having a baby, and now they're like, oh, I've got a mortgage.
That's horrible. That's depressing.
And that was completely opposite of what the whole British one was about.
I think when the second season started of the British Office, and he's back at the paper
and
company.
That was so depressing.
Oh God, that's just it made you want to cry. You're just like, no, because you think he's dead inside.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? It's like in what is it, Don Juan de Marco? That great film. You love it, right? With Johnny Depp.
Oh yeah.
And do you love that film?
Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah, I showed it to Liz, and she was just like, it's crap.
I love that genre of film where there's a crazy guy, no one believes him. Is it not? Like, I even like K-Pax. I don't know if you've seen that. I've got the DVD.
No, I haven't seen it. Just the title alone.
Yeah.
That's that one with bloody what's his name?
Kevin Spacey,
right?
He says he's an alien,
and he's got his stupid sunnies on, and he eats bananas or something.
Yeah.
But Don Juan de Marco, right? Where they line him up, and he's out of his fluffy shirts and whatnot, and he's sitting there and he's saying, I'm just this 16-year-old kid and I had a crush on this Playboy model and blah blah blah.
Yeah.
And it just kills you,
Yeah.
Like seeing that for the first time, I was
and
like, no, that's not who you are. You're Don Juan de Marco, you know?
And it made him a great person. and yet as soon as they break him down, it's like, what have you solved here? Like,
yeah. What have you accomplished? Great, you know. But the untruth, you know, the hidden truth that's within the lie. That's the beauty. You know? And
but then. This US office, if they're just shaping up this Jim character to be more like David Brent, like, you know, he's just this loser who's stuck at this job, and he's just like, yeah, whatever, I'm not that good as a manager, I can't control the situation.
This thing is still in it, is, what's his name?
Steve Carell.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's still in. Yeah. I mean, the whole thing is lost plot. I mean, that's the reality, is that they have to introduce new characters to create any drama, because their last season they had some really good characters introduced, but then they just got rid of them. And I'm like, well,
yeah, right. No, I mean, I think the US Office is really funny. Yeah, I think it's one of those rare examples. But you know,
the first 3 seasons were awesome, and I'm guessing it's still the 4th, or maybe it's gone to the 5th now. I don't know.
What was that bit where he was talking about wanting to have sex with the fat office girl? Was that?
Oh, right.
I can't even remember how that. It's just one of the funniest things.
He's like, don't. Someone was saying, someone was teasing her and saying, "Oh, who would want to have sex with him?" It's like, well, I got a better. Something like that. Just to try and make her feel better.
That was great. No, but do you remember? I don't know. I very rarely see episodes of Rove, but do you remember when Steve Carell and Anne Hathaway were on? Did you see that one? And they were talking about the Get Smart remake.
Oh no, that movie has the worst cinematographer in the world, who's embarrassingly Australian.
Oh, really?
But anyway, that's what I think about when they move the movie. I'm like,
yeah, I caught a bit of it.
Dean Semler or something. He's so bad.
I caught a bit of it on
every movie that he does.
Oh, let's check out what else he's done.
He did 2012 recently, which was an amazing movie. It's just like, it looks like a daytime TV.
Yeah, right. So yeah, okay.
He makes everything like daytime TV. That's his gimmick.
That's not a very good gimmick. But they were on talking about Get Smart, right? And promoting the film, and you know, it's a really cool remake, and blah 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 blah. And so you've got Anne Hathaway, right? And she's in this remake of Get Smart. You've got Steve Carell, who's in a remake of Get Smart, plus a remake of The British Office, right? And then I think Rove mentions that Anne Hathaway, it was just some rumor, I think, that she was going to be in a remake of The Sound of Music.
Oh, okay.
Right? And she was scoffing at that, saying, yeah, right, like, you can't just go and remake it, you know, classic things like that. Why don't we just remake Citizen Kane?
Yeah.
You know, and she was saying it with all seriousness. I was just like, are you mad? Like,
yeah.
Are you seriously crazy? What are you talking about? They're promoting a remake of a classic TV show. Steve Carell's sitting next to you, and he's probably most famous for 40-Year-Old Virgin, but remaking The Office.
Did they acknowledge that at all? Or they're just like,
no.
Oh my god.
And Rove was just like, oh yeah, you can't just go around remaking everything. I was like, what the fuck?
Oh my god, that is funny.
Yeah, it's just like, what's going on? Cinematography by Dean Semler.
Yeah.
So you got to be careful. Don't go burning bridges with everything.
Well, this guy is an embarrassment to Australia. Yeah.
What else has he done? Selected filmography. Appaloosa. Get Smart. And I pronounce you Chuck and Larry. He did Apocalypto.
I haven't seen that, so I can't judge.
Apocalypto's pretty amazing, but it might just be the art direction.
He's done Triple X. He's fancy.
Bruce Almighty, you loved that film.
Not the cinematography.
What about The Adventures of Pluto Nash? You loved that as well.
Oh, I haven't seen it. I really want to see it.
What else? Babe.
Did Cocktail.
He did Babe.
Yeah,
City Slickers.
Dances
with Wolves. This guy's amazing.
Yeah, that's the thing, and people reckon he's so cool, but he's just gone to crap. Go see 2012, and you tell me that has got good cinematography in it. Go see. Have you seen Get Smart, the remake?
I've seen a bit of it. No, it looked really crap. I saw a bit of it.
Go see that and tell me that the cinematography is acceptable.
There was some video where I think someone had gone through the 2012 trailer and had cut out all the CGI Apocalypto stuff, and it was just like,
I thought that was
John Cusack like screaming in a car and like rolling around.
Yeah, John Cusack isn't that good at it either. Such a disappointment, man. Day After Tomorrow was so awesome. 10,000 BC was disappointing. What's happened to Roland Emmerich?
Oh, he's a pretty wild guy.
It's gone to make instead of like, let's make more movies like Independence Day. He's like, let's make more movies for like Godzilla. I'm like, ugh.
Oh look, his films are shit by their very nature, And he acknowledges that.
Yeah, but the whole thing is he creates his world. Like, Independence Day, I mean, I don't know if you were into it, but man, when I was a kid, I went down and like, man, I was just in a whole new world for like 2.5 hours and it just blew my mind. And the same with like Day After Tomorrow. You know, he creates his world, he uses like the media, he uses everything's like based on TV coverage and stuff like that. And he just builds his world up and you have his characters, but if you have no likable characters and it's just not an interesting world, then it's like, ugh.
So what happens in 2012? It's the end of the world. Do we escape in spaceships?
No. Well,
spoiler
spoiler alert.
Spoiler alert. If you're going to see 2012 in boats,
like it's the Ark, you know, like.
But aren't there? It's
like,
all tidal waves and stuff, isn't it?
Yeah, but they're big boats, so they can survive the tidal waves.
Oh bullshit! Why not planes? Are there hurricanes and storms and lightning and stuff?
I think they can't stay aloft long enough to survive. You have to be on water for ages because the whole thing is like the Earth's, you know, continental crusts are moving, and so.
Oh really? It's pretty scary.
You know, like the Himalayas sink, and the Cape of Good Hope in Africa becomes like the new high ground. So then the ships are built in the Himalayas, so that's the last place to get flooded. So you know, then they sail off to the South Africa because that's where all the good land is.
What sort of period of time is this movie taking place in?
Like 2 days. I mean, it's
but
like
the government knows, right? The government has known, and they've been preparing these ships and stuff. Yeah. Like in Independence Day, where they're like, "We've known about this since Roswell," and they're like, "Oh, here's the secret bunker." And
it's more like Deep Impact. You know how they prepare that space station?
Yeah, I haven't
in
seen
space
that.
to prepare for the Metroid. Yeah, but it's not as good as Deep Impact. And I'm not even.
The one that came? It was Armageddon and Deep Impact came at the same time, didn't they?
And Armageddon, the only thing good about Armageddon is Michael Bay directed, so it's like,
Have you seen that new Victoria's Secret commercial he directed?
No, is it out yet?
Yeah.
Oh man, I've seen the behind the scenes, but I haven't seen it yet.
Man, it looks so crap. It looks like, imagine if you took like just every Michael Bay film that he's ever done.
Yeah.
And just replaced it with lingerie models and like trimmed it down.
Sounds like the best thing ever. That's probably his pitch. Like.
Yeah, he's just.
Did you ever see the Commonwealth Bank ads?
Those ads are hilarious. It's like that. It's like Michael Bay direct this, and you've got like, I don't know. There's some shot where there's this model coming out of I think she's stepping out of like a Bentley Continental flying spur or something, and there's a helicopter rising behind her, and all the heat waves are like shivering, and it's all in slow motion, and you're just like, wow, could that be any more ridiculous?
But it's funny that, like, you know, Transformers just tried to totally rip off Independence Day, but I didn't think it worked. But, you know, it was way more awesome because, you know,
they were Transformers.
Bay just put so much more effort into special effects and cinematography. And now Roland Emmerich is just gone. He's lost the plot. He's shooting in daytime TV format, and you know, has all these awesome special effects which are actually done. You know, they didn't tell the guys at the special effects office to do it in daytime TV format, so they don't even fit. So the actors running around look like they're, you know, in a home video, and then the special effects are like done in like 24 frames per second, like normal cinematography. It just doesn't fit at all. It's like that.
It's like two different.
And you must be so feel bad for the animators. They probably work so hard because doing all these awesome animations, and it just
maybe they can make a recut of it, like, and just take out all.
No, because this thing you can't recut because maybe just have all the CGI scenes.
Yeah, well, they could just have you'd have the director's
That's a
cut.
fundamental decision. That's why the cinema director is crap, because he makes a decision at the start. You know. He has to make decisions, and he didn't work. So you've really stuffed the film up because you have to refilm everything in that format.
But you could have, you know, you get director's cuts. You could have a CG animator's cut, and it would just be all the wicked special effects.
Yeah, I guess so.
And they'd be like, "Oh, look, we don't want John Cusack in a car like screaming. That's kind of a bit lame." And
yeah.
So it's a big boat. Do they have like a couple of giraffes and stuff?
Yeah. And the big conflict is such a funny, like, the conflict is, like, nonsensical, like...
Are they only allowed 2 people on board?
No, well, like, they do it like you know, they use the human genome to find the best possible people to take for, like, 2/3 of the ship, and the other third is all the rich people can pay for it. If they put $1 billion into the building of the ship, they can get a ticket onto the thing, so it's $1 billion per person, something like that. And so this is the big moral dilemma. It's like, oh, these billionaires are getting on, but no one else does. And I'm like, and it's funny. There's two characters in conflict, and one guy's a total asshole. Like he puts the entire human race on risk just to save a few extra people to get on the boat, and like the boat almost sinks because he wants to get 20 extra people on, and so all that the million people that are already on the boat could have died because if he wants. Oh Lord, this is unfair because most of these million people are like billionaires. It's like can you really live yourself? And he's like, yes, I can. I can kill 20 people to save the whole human race. And that's the funny thing is I think they want you to side with the guy who's like, nah, we got to save these.
Yeah, right. It's those
left on the dock.
Yeah, those moral dilemmas. I mean,
and I'm like sitting there, go! Why are you staying, man? You're gonna wipe out the human race just for a couple of idiots that couldn't get on the boat in time. Like, oh no.
Yeah, those sort of moral choices where it's like the logical one is, so clear, but then
and fair enough if it's a boat. Just going to Rottnest, yes, wait for those people to get up. This is to save the whole human race,
Man, I think one of the most intense sort of sequences like that was, and it worked.
Oh my god, have you seen The Mist?
No.
Oh, you should see it. It's like, yeah, pretty epic.
Is it scary?
Yeah.
Is it new?
It's a horror movie. It's made it a horror movie, but isn't that scary? It's more the decisions the characters go through that are kind of scary. And it's not that good a movie, but you should see it just to see what they have to.
Oh, when I get my new home entertainment.
And it comes on the Blu-ray. They have one disc in color and another disc in black and white, so you can choose whether you want to watch in color or black and white.
Why is that? It was the original in black and white.
Because he wanted to make it black and white, but the studio wouldn't let him.
Oh, really?
So on DVD, he said, my condition is you have to put a disc in that's in black and white.
Oh, that's cool. He should have done it like a Coen Brothers and just like sapped almost all of the color out, so it's practically is black and white.
Yeah, but see, apparently you can buy the color version of The Man Who Wasn't There in Europe.
Yeah, I remember you saying
DVD
ages ago.
Somewhere.
It'd be pretty funny to compare it.
Yeah,
it's sort of like in Japan.
I went looking for it in Paris, but I couldn't find it, and it would have been in London, but I never got time to go to the Virgin store.
What was with Kill Bill 1?
A part of one segment was in black and white.
Yeah, but then in Japan it was released in color.
Oh, really?
And Tarantino was like, "Yeah, the Japanese can hack it," because it was like the super gory bit.
Yeah.
But like, no, the Japanese are well into it,
yeah,
which I thought was kind of odd. I was like, but I liked it in
have
black
you seen
and white.
Glorious
It was cool. No, I haven't.
I haven't seen it either. I think they had a Monday double of the original Inglourious Basterds and Quentin Tarantino's version, but I was working, so I couldn't go.
Yeah, I'm going to the Monday double this Monday. Which is Ponyo on a Cliff and Spirited Away.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah, that'll be exciting.
Have you already seen Ponyo?
I haven't. Oh. I'm really excited. And Spirited's my favourite Miyazaki, so...
Yeah, that's awesome.
That's just... Oh my god.
Anyway, I think you have to go.
Yeah. Better head off.
But yeah, thanks for coming on. Where can people out there find you on the internet, Campbell?
I can be found at thehometimebell.com.
Sweet. And you can check out his project Free Range Gallery.
Yep, so that's freerange.org.au. So, yeah. That's that.
No worries. Thanks for coming on.
No worries. See ya.
Bye. Wonder if any of that. You can find the Gimmerish FM website at fm.gimmerish.com.